Okay, let's just start out with introductions and dive head into whatever Greatest was about to say. All right, this is the final hour. We are gathered here in Ultimate Tiredness Day, but it's all good. We're going to have a great time and have a great podcast. My name is FinalHarps. We are joined with
Greatest Gamer 00 and
I'm Nanners, aka Mash the Stampede.
All right, let's get going. All right, this is part 2 of fighting games and our discussion about fighting games that carried over from last week. And yeah, all right, let's go, Greatest Gamer. I got nothing, you got everything.
Yep. So here's the thing I want to bring up, because I noticed like how some people you guys may not understand, and it only happens when you play fighting games at a semi-competitive level, how important input delay is, or display lag. And I want to start off by asking you, Mash Stampede, did you even what's your knowledge as far as what you know from frame data and how it applies to games, or even fighting games in general, or the that's there's something more, but I'll add that question after I get your initial thoughts on that one.
Yeah, honestly, I mean, I never got that deep into fighting games on that technical level. Yeah, I mean, I honestly just can't. It's one of those. It's that moment where the teacher asks the question that I'm not prepared for. It's I got nothing.
Oh, that's fine. That's fine.
Okay, so you're talking about that. You want to know the input and the importance of delay at all when you're playing a fighting game, or honestly with any game, but especially with fighting games, because fighting games is like a rhythm game. You have to be exactly on beat and point, and you also need a light, Greatest. You look like you're lurking in the shadows in the valley of death and about to walk through.
Hold up, fam. You're right.
He looks like Shin Akuma.
I know, right?
Oh, you guys snap.
Minus the chest and the if he had the chest piece and then a black light, that would have been perfect. That'd be perfect. My Discord got laggy as fuck for a second. That's behind him. What the fuck, dude? That's supposed to be next to you.
Looks like an optical flare.
I know, right?
Hopefully that's better.
It is. You were only half-ass lurking in the shadows now, which is fine.
As you were saying, though? Sorry.
Anytime when you're playing a beat game or a fighting game, and especially fighting games, it's like you're playing a rhythm game. So when you do a combo, it's literally a rhythm game. You have to know the rhythm of that combo to go into how to flow with it. If there's an input delay from lag online, there's going to be issues. If there's just anything in general, it's any delay at all will cause issues. If you have a TV delay, you're going from one TV to another TV, there's going to be delays. And with those delays, it's going to mess up left and right. It's just the nature of the beast. It's just how it is. And yeah. I got nothing else. I kind of lost my train of thought. I'm too tired.
No, it's right. I think that comes back to when we were talking about doing a Hadouken and stuff like that. The first time you can't get into it because you haven't worked into your muscle memory the rhythm of doing the Hadouken, what exact frame that input has to come in.
Yep.
Wow, well said, Mash. Yeah. That was perfect.
Yeah, that was. Damn.
But yeah, no, thank you. That's you guys did half the work. That was perfect, and that was a great bring up, because here's the thing: how you build
half the work.
This is why you guys may not know it, but TVs. That's why TVs, for competitive gamers, are terrible. We always choose monitors because this is the thing: display lag and input lag are two very different types of lag. Display lag is the lag between the image coming out of your console or PC to your display, whether it's a CRT or monitor or TV. And the go-to, if you can, is CRT is number one. CRT is king because it's literally just light being shot at your eyes, which is fast. It's light, that's fast as hell. Then your best guess would be a monitor. Highly recommended. It's a BenQ. And then the TV is your last option. And that's just the display, and it's all in milliseconds, and it's all 1 millisecond. But yeah, regardless, that's why if you guys are ever curious, monitors are the way to go, because CRT is good luck trying to find one that isn't garbage. And even then, most games are HD now. So like you'd get a converter, but then that adds display lag anyway. So you kill the point of even buying a CRT. So it's just like it's only recommended if you're playing off like old consoles that support component by default. But most modern fighting games are HD, which is going to now we're going to input lag, and that is the lag between you, your controller, and your system. And here's the thing: one thing I really want to notice, and this is an after question to that. What's your guys' thoughts on modern fighting games having more lag, especially on consoles compared to their PC counterparts? Being Street Fighter V and Tekken 7 it was a big controversy. Street Fighter V had 8 frames of input lag.
And it was 6
compared to the PC. And now it's 6, and even on PC it's 4. And here's the thing: you like Nat Mash did it perfect. Once you get that muscle memory, that timing, you get thrown off, even though it's by a couple frames. In your muscle memory, you're adjusted to that specific framing.
Mm-hmm.
But
yeah, whenever I go to another TV or any a tournament, I'm thrown off because like almost every single tourney you go to, they don't use the same monitors. Mm-hmm. They're not using the same exact PS4, so it's like even though they are the same specs and models, there's always like a difference. Like I have like 2 phones. Same exact device, same updates, but they both run at different speeds, but yet they're optimized. Like, it doesn't matter. Devices, whatever it may be, there's always going to be a lag of some sort of different way. And everyone's, like, especially if you're not on, like, that actual pro level, you'll struggle with that. But if you're on that pro level, you can adjust instantly to those kind of situations. I have no clue where I'm going with this one. Please, someone help me.
That's well said. I mean, what about you, man? Have you actually ever experienced this, like, and never thought, like, man, does it feel weird? Like, because I've had that my first experience with input display lag. I played Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 on a huge flat screen, but a TV, and then I went, why does this feel weird? You know? And
so I've definitely felt a couple of like non-specifically fighting game examples of it. But like in all the time I've played fighting games, I've not really noticed too much of. I understand it, but I've not really noticed it too much when like one of our friends like, oh, this monitor is no good, or like this display is no good, so we don't use this one because it's there's lag on it. And then I play it, like I don't think I would be able. I don't know fighting games that well to like really see the difference, but anecdotally I have caught it where so if you're going to capture game footage, you need a capture card, plugs into your PC, or sometimes they have other options, but a capture card taking the feed from your console, and then that goes into your computer. You use it however you want to. And sometimes you have to kind of work around stuff because the PS3 had HDCP built in.
Yep, right.
Me and my buddy, we always had to find some way to work around that. And at one point we had some kind of alternative, like you have to plug a thing into the capture card, into the it wasn't a splitter. It's not the thing you're supposed to use because we couldn't use splitters. We had to use a different way of rerouting it. Basically, it was like it's not really an HD signal. It's like less than the high definition signal. But anyway, yeah. And then whenever we use that setup, you would legitimately feel the lag. The display lag or the input lag, display lag. And yeah, I mean, it was terrible. It breaks fighting games because you can't play them. You play them and it's almost like the game is drunk. It just doesn't work as well as it should, you know?
Yep. So yeah, no, that's exactly it. Also, hopefully I sound a bit louder. I just did my microphone. Thanks for that, chat. And yeah, no, you're right. And here's the thing. This is why, like, some people, like, especially in PC community, they'll talk about like the gray to gray response, like 5 milliseconds. It's like, oh, you have to have something at 5 or 4. When you're casually playing something, you don't notice it as bad. That's why you can be like, I do recommend a TV, but you try to get them within the realm of like nothing bigger than 47. And then once they start getting good and realizing these things, like you said, like especially like with setups and stuff, which is something that really struggles in tournaments if you're doing PS3s.
It's like all of the situation is like really rough. And thank you for the volume. I totally missed that. Oh, it was actually on my end. But you're fine. It balances out. You're absolutely right. Like no matter what, even internet, like you're playing a game and then you just like walk into a wall when you're playing a shooter game or any online, and then you walk backwards and you end up somehow in your spawn point. It's like, wait, what? And when you get that online with a fighting game, just even the littlest, you notice it. Like the last time we played, and I love playing against you, we had major lag, and I was ready to throw my controller out the window. And it's very rare for me to get, like, there's only a few games that actually get me really frustrated, and that's Apex and fighting games with lag. Mm-hmm. So when you're playing a fighting game and you get lag and you know you could hit those combos and you're not, it's infuriating. Like, you know, like, I just did that correctly. If I did this in the training room, it would have been fine. But here, no, for some reason. And that's because of internet. Like, it's just,
So now you guys understand like the importance of getting high refresh rate monitors or anything, just anything to try to get better. And it helps especially people who have reaction times, but this benefits you regardless of your reaction time in my opinion.
Yeah, like the thing is like how it should be when you're doing a fighting game. As soon as you press that button, it should your character should react to it on screen. Mm-hmm. But nowadays, back in the day, that's how it used to be. As soon as you pressed it, instantly, because of like technology was so hardwired and not digitalized and filtered out through other things. But now when you press a button, you can literally like hear the sound and record it at the same time and actually watch the input delay. It's only by a few frames, but you actually physically can see it now.
Right.
When Nintendo was out, no, there wasn't. There wasn't a delay. It's just the fucking maps and like design of those games were so shitty because they're so old. It was hard to play them. That was it. And that's how us gamers are really good, because we had to play and go through those hard games.
You have to get good.
Yeah. And trying to do that in fighting games is ridiculous, because you're fighting against the system itself. You're fighting against your actual setup, and you can't. If you want to go into competing, you actually need to invest in proper equipment just to be able to stay on top of competing. Even your freaking fight stick has input delay that if you get the right motherboard for it, it gives you a faster response time. That is how in-depth it gets. And a lot of people don't know that. And that's the crazy thing.
Right. They don't.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, look, I even got a custom wired controller, dude. The input lag is everything.
Yep.
But the other, like I mentioned a bit earlier, I don't even know if you guys MASH knew, but like the Street Fighter, I mentioned it a bit, but I'll bring it up again. Is like why is it that all these modern fighting games have so much lag, and especially on PS4? Like even BB Tag and Unio, anime fighters, which shouldn't take up a lot of resources, they have 1 frame of lag extra on PlayStation and even online compared to PC. Like, what's your guys' thoughts on that?
Like the difference with the lag?
Why do you think modern fighting games seem to have more lag, and why specifically on PS4 as well?
Why? Oh, okay, you mean like PC in comparison, or just in general?
In general too, and then I bring up the PC just to make a point as well.
Pretty much, like it depends on what the company wants to do, and that's really what it is. And it could be also what target audience you're going for. Like the thing is, if you like for combos, like let's say Marvel. It's chain combos. You have a long input span between pressing the button and not pressing the button, or like from pressing the button and missing the combo. You have a very open frame gap. Instead of just like 3 frames, you got what, 6, 8 frames? So it depends on what the company wants to go for, and if they don't, I don't know. I get what you're saying, but I don't know how to put in the words right now.
Could it be that it makes it easier?
Yes.
For like more casual players or something like that?
Yeah, no, you're right. Actually, this is one of the... I mean,
I'm not an expert on fighting games in this way, like any kind of like talk about frames or anything like that. But that's the first thing that comes to my mind, is it potentially makes it easier for people that don't know fighting games so well.
And here's the funny thing is, dude, you're actually for Street Fighter 5, that is true. They increased the input delay was on there on purpose for 2 reasons. To make it easier, as you said, for people, which is so weird. I'm like, what the? In reality, no, it just hurts you for having more input lag, but it does make it easier for you to adjust online. Because now if you have more input delay when you get online, that if there is that lag, it won't feel different because you already have lag offline. You know, and as far as why I think the PC and PS4 are so different on display lag, it's only a theory. It's not even concrete. It has to do something with the PS4 architecture, because everyone's been talking about how underpowered the PS4 and the Xbox One are, which I completely agree with, and I think you can see it in the fighting games. And I also notice like the games I see that have real lag are games that are on Unreal Engine. And this is why I'm like Unreal Engine is great. I just do not think it's for fighting games, because every Unreal Engine game has more than 4 frames of lag. Like anime fighters are not that bad. Like they're all fine. Like literally I hop from like B-Tag, like from Street Fighter or Tekken, and I'm just like, why does this feel like 10 times faster? And not just because it's an anime fighter. Like I press a 1 frame jab and, you know, Street Fighter and BB Tag, it's like a mad difference, you know. But yeah, that's the you know, you were onto something, Mash. Like you're not entirely wrong, but that's the situation with that. But I believe
they gotta, you know, I mean, fighting games are great for people that like want to invest and have already invested into fighting games. It'll be better for them to pick up like a really difficult, honest fighting game. But that's not gonna capture that core audience. That's not gonna capture like a wider audience, which is what a lot of companies are, you know, gonna go for, especially someone like Capcom. You know, they want the money too. They want to expand the exposure.
As stupid as this is, and let's actually delve into like a little bit of that money aspect. As stupid as this is, I see all these posts on Facebook. Oh, this company just wants money. They just do this to get money. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry, but like every company, what's the point in making something? It is to make it so you can consume it. And if you don't consume it, I can't make more of it. Why can't humans just understand that?
Right.
Like, there is a difference between being greedy about it and then not being greedy. Like,
let's not defend like EA and stuff like that.
No. Like, okay.
I played Skate 3 last night. It was pretty terrible.
No, but like, check this out. Like, EA did Apex, right?
Yeah.
Of course.
Okay. They just have it where you can get all the legends, play as everyone. The only thing you cannot get is cosmetics, and the game's free. So like with EA on that one, okay, that's fine. Who needs cosmetics to play the game? Right?
Right.
I mean, for that aspect, oh, here, we're going to give you a free game. If other people support it by buying these things, then we can keep making more stuff for this game. But the problem is, I don't understand. I think this is my question, actually. Why do people get so upset when a company makes a game and they have to pay for more if they want a particular thing in the game?
I think this is already a tangent off of fighting games, right? Your question,
just slightly, yeah.
But I got another tangent off of that, and I think it's kind of like people will get mad at DLC and stuff like that, and sometimes I find it excusable. Like for instance, I bought Valkyria Chronicles day one. They gave me all the DLC for that, right? It's a great game. I was willing to support it day one. Even if I didn't get it day one, I would still buy the DLC, even if I don't really have an intention to use it, because it's, you know, it's kind of like it's shown Sega that like there's a market for this here, and it pumps more money into a franchise that I like and whatnot. But I think with fighting games, it's kind of like you're now. Yes, okay, so they want more people to be able to pick up Street Fighter V and play it and do better than people did when they first picked up Street Fighter 4 and they got bodied. And it's like, okay, but now you're taking something where it's like this fighting games are about, I don't know, we're gonna have to work through this one together, but like, yeah, fighting games are like you're watering down something that people like to watch at such a high competitive level. And it's, you know, they expect that if there's another Street Fighter game coming out, it's going to be a good game. It's going to be a good game to pick up for, you know, like the more competitive crowd to like play and fight. And now that the next one is out and there's input delay and it's kind of made potentially tailored more towards like to bring in some more casual people, to bring in like a wider audience, I think people will get kind of pissed because they were expecting like the next big Street Fighter, and then they feel let down by that. I think there's kind of a difference there in terms of like you said, going out and like, well, what's wrong with just making money off of a video game? I think the problem is that you're compromising what the hardcore audience was expecting from the game in order to bring in more people. That's the issue here.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, I could see that. With like the dumbing down and the frame rate and everything, but it's just, I find it like with the delay is the most annoying thing. But the whole DLC thing, it brings more people in because, like, say there's this character not here, I like this character. And it's just, I don't know. When people complain about some things, it's just like, oh my god, why can't you see it from both ends? And actually do a little bit of study and understand, oh, I have to make money to survive. So do they.
Right, and I think the DLC, like you're bringing up Apex, I think the DLC doesn't affect Apex. I mean, I'm not an expert on Apex, but I don't think it affects it quite as much as we're going to make the new Street Fighter game with 8 frames of input lag.
Yeah. That affects
the core experience of Street Fighter more than microtransactions or putting in DLC expansion into a multiplayer shooter.
But in coincide, I was talking about like how Street Fighter has microtransactions, as in like the costumes. Like you could buy most of the costumes with like in-game fight money, but you have to play the game like crazy to be able to get that stuff. Which is fine. That's how older games used to be. But I guess the question is, why complain about a company trying to actually make money to be able to make more content?
Right.
I don't understand that. And that goes for like all fighting games, actually, because all fighting games have like, oh, season pass, here's 4 new characters, here's 6 new characters, here's 2 new characters.
And here's the thing, like there is some sense to it because like not EA. When you do mess up, Capcom has messed up before. Like the costumes, I think I don't complain because it's like it's optional. It doesn't really affect the game, and it's whoever your character. And more importantly, like it supports the Capcom Pro Tour. That's why I don't complain. Like you even see it like comes help support the tour for the pro players. Here's even a map for you. You'll go ahead and purchase it. They're not breaking your hand, and it's a map. It's optional. But the problem I feel is, like like the DLC, that makes sense. They can't just bust out characters all the time, especially with new engines. They're not working off arcades where they just got sprites off. But it is kind of shady when you lock away some. I'm not even saying you can do it once or twice, but when you lock away a lot of legacy characters, because the legacy characters bring people there. The only people who want new characters are like the fans who want to try stuff out. But if you're trying to bring in casuals, the strength that brings you is the legacy characters. But I will say the worst DLC hands on that can't be defended, and even me as a big fan, is BB Tag. Your gimmick is a crossover fighter. Your gimmick is literally the characters. Everything else, go ahead, charge DLC or something. But your characters bring people there. When you will charge DLC for half of your cast, that's too much. I'm sorry. That's half. Like,
wait,
I get it.
What are you talking about by half? I don't understand the full numbers here. I get what you're saying, but give a perspective of numbers.
You start with 4 Persona characters. That infuriates me.
No, he's right. And he's 4, think about it. You come
in BB Tag, you only get 4? What?
And here's the thing. What if you came for BB Tag? Or actually, I think it might be 5, 6, but that's the thing. People came for Persona units. Your game was like, but if you have at least one character you like, whether it's your third or your main, when you have a lower number of that genre, you have less to pick from. What if you liked Margaret or Elizabeth, but no, they're not there? They only came as DLC and as the 3rd DLC pack. So you not only you had to pay for 2 different DLC seasons just to hope that you could get it, because these things got announced late too. Yeah. And you don't even want to use it. And here's the crazy thing, like BB Tag now has a lot of like now it's better. Like you can buy it now, $50, you get everything. But I feel fucked over. Like if I'm being honest, I feel so fucked over. It doesn't feel right. Like that is like.
I think it's important that you bring that up, how you feel fucked over, because I think what's really telling about BB Cross Tag is that I ended up buying it on sale for $4.80. And I think that kind of shows you what they were really expecting to eventually sell it for. So then now I come in, I'm like, I'm a huge Persona fan. I got to get all the Persona characters. Well, I only paid $4.80 for it, so let me just get all the DLC. I'm good. But all the early adopters, man, the people that, you know, actually want to play it and like from day one, you guys got fucked.
Right. Yeah,
this is Arxis. This is how Arxis, like, this is why I give them smack. Like, they do a lot of good, but their business strategy is shitty. Like, even they did it with Blaze Blue and Guilty Gear. They would resell you the same game from last time, but with a few more characters, and want to charge you a full $60. That's actually egregious. They charge you $60 for the same game, but get you 4 characters. Like, bro, a season pass or $4 a pop for character would have been better instead of charging me $60 for rebuying the same game.
Yeah.
Because these are anime fighters. They're not as hard to make as 3D fighters. That's just an honest truth. And
yeah, because it's strong characters. Strong characters are actually really simple. It's literally it takes only like an hour to draw, and then you copy and paste that image of what you want it to look like on the game. That's it. Right. And then all you do is adjust the sprites and hitboxes and size. Right, like that's simple editing. I could see through like Adobe and Photoshop, or like. But the whole extra hit sparks and stuff, like, yeah. Oh shit, Pineapple! Thank you for that follow. How you doing this evening?
But I would say is you guys got anything else? I remember Mash brought up something. I couldn't remember it. But it was a really good
We're all having that problem today.
Yeah. Topic. It was we're pertaining to this.
Yeah. I scrolled up and I found all the topics we had saved for part 2. If you guys
nice. Yep. Nice.
So. I really like this one because I was hanging out with some friends, and they pointed it, like one dude pointed this out, that like back in the day with fighting games, your technology, your tech, anything that you come up with, that's what you had, right? Like that's just what you had, and that was your advantage over the other people. That like you would go to an arcade and nobody knew how to deal with your tech because like it was new to them. They didn't have that. Whereas today, the way it works is that like if you get tech, people will put that up on YouTube and just share with everybody, and everybody gets to see and get. It's an interesting dynamic because the way it used to kind of work was more like feudal. Like people would just show up and like wreck shit in an arcade because nobody knows how to deal with that at that arcade. Versus now, when again it's just more freely available, people are just willing to give it out.
Well, all right, let's kind of discuss that a little bit. Why do you think people are more willing to give it out?
I mean, could it be views? I think they just want to like let you check out what I did with this new character, right? And sick combo.
No, that's what I was going to get with. It's views. Like say, like we all do YouTube. We got something that no one has ever seen, that you haven't seen. You're like, man, I want to show this to the world because that's how I am. I'm going to put that shit on the fucking internet and it's going to get views. And guess what? We all would do that. I mean, while back then it was all about competitiveness and trying to win and getting to the top. Now it's like, okay, what does everyone know? And learn from how everyone knows and how they play. Like games, like not games, but major sports. They watch the other teams to figure out what they're doing and how they play and their stuff. While now gamers can do that. But this guy, I'm going to be facing this guy. Let's watch how he plays. How does he fight Ibuki? What does he do? Like, that's how you learn from your opponent, is through them sharing their information. Yeah, I could share, but then there's those moments where I could share my tech, but I might not show you how I actually fight. But
that's
the problem
is, whenever you watch football and they pan to like one of the coaches, and the coach is giving orders, he's always talking like this. He has something over his mouth because he knows that people are watching to see what he's gonna say. Yeah, and there are like sporting events have like big controversies about that sometimes, but teams like looking in too much on another team, or and I think one of the few exceptions is NASCAR, where you could freely just watch, you could listen into the whole team, like what they're talking about on the internet. They just like put that out there.
Interesting. And here's the thing, why? Like, because what Harp said, I mean, Ares brought this up. It was perfect. Like, why tech just isn't discarded? It's almost frowned upon now because it's like back in the day, you said you would just look at your opponent and you could see, like, you know, they'd be aligned, and then you just watch this guy. You started noticing. Then people started developing tech, you know, hiding their buttons and stuff and doing whatever they could to hide their tech. But the reality is, eventually people will learn. And when people realize this, they're like, oh, like, there's no point in hiding. And as we all said, you want them views, and you're like, people are going to find out. Anyways, let me be the first one to, you know, to get this gold rush and get these views. And even now, people still do it. Like, they'll do combo videos. Like, even, like, you know, you put your share play button on PlayStation. Oh, look at this combo I did. Oh, you know, like, everyone's now, like just rushing to give information, you know. Mm-hmm. It just started because it was a different era back then. And now, you know, even people from that era, they're like, yeah, no, eventually people are going to find out. And they're going to copy it. I mean, the origin of Korean backdashing came because some dude who was Korean did the backdashing. They're like, whoa, how do you do it? And then people just started picking it up. And they're like, oh, what do we call it? Oh, let's call it after where the guy came from, Korea. You know, like,
and then backdash him while you're back. Oh, shit.
Right. So,
hell yeah, thank you for the biddies, greatest.
A little bit.
No problem.
Like, even in the slightest, because essentially now that you've put it out there, like, you can't stop anybody from just, oh, I'm just going to copy it. I'm going to see if I can't do it myself. And then now I have your tech.
But the thing is, what is wrong with, like, at the same point, what is wrong with that? Because now, let's say the three of us, I share something, you master it, you master exactly what I do, but then Greatest does it, but learns a little extra thing that you could do on top of that. Mm-hmm. And then I watch Greatest, I'm like, oh, and then I master that, and then you look at what we did and you develop something new. That's kind of how this works. So, like, I make something, you look at it and be like, oh, I can do this. And then the next person goes, oh, I can do this with this. And then, oh, wait, I could do this with those two things also. And then it keeps going.
Right.
That's the cool thing about sharing information. Yeah, back then it kind of was like you had to pay to play people. You had to pay to do this. Like, now it's just like, oh, information is out there and it needs to be out there.
Yep.
But yeah, that's it's very interesting sharing tech and stuff. But nowadays it makes more sense to share it because you can develop newer stuff to see these. Like, Capcom Cup is the only Twitch streams, or not Capcom Cup, but any fighting game like stream that's fight for Street Fighter. I will watch it because the top 8, top 16, those people are going at it. It's going down to the last round, last second, last hitbox, unless like the other person got bodied for one round, which does happen. Mm-hmm. Like all the right guesses or like not guessing right. I mean, it's amazing to watch. You could feel the not the stress, but the adrenaline that's going on and the pressure that's going on. Like, man, especially if you know what's going on and how fighting games are, you'll be like, holy crap, you understand it. It's insane. And you wouldn't have back in the day, you wouldn't have gotten that unless all this we can share. Back in the day, you wouldn't see that high level. You would see one person dominating. Maybe a couple people going at it a little bit, but it won't be that bad. Now you see groups of people going at it and seeing entertainment. While before you would just have only a handful of people doing it. Now you got groups of people where you're like, holy crap, how? And that's only because people are sharing information.
Yep, no, that's so, yeah. So basically to summarize what Harp said is the benefits of sharing information is the fact that we actually become more unique through the sharing of information because people will use that information and make it unique. They'll make it their own. And more importantly, now that everybody shares the same information, we can have much higher level of gameplay and amongst more people. And not everybody can see it because it's the internet. But yeah, no, that, like I said, just summarizing to what you said, you know, which, no, that was perfect. But something, I mean, you guys got anything else you wanted to bring up you can think of right now?
I got really actually nothing. We talked about the input delay a little bit more because we didn't really brush up on that. We talked about sharing tech. Mm-hmm. We talked about like the financing, like
yep. No, and here's what I wanted to bring pad. Yeah. Wait. Right. Stick versus pad. You guys want to go over that right now?
What's that?
I think we could do a quick rundown.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, of what?
Like stick versus
pad.
Sorry, I said it at the same time.
Yeah, what?
Stick versus pad. Arcade stick versus gamepad. gamepad / game controller. Real quick before we do that, Grace, is there a distinction between, like, when they say pad, they mean controller in general? They're not.
Yes.
Because I know there's also a fight pad where it kind of has like more of an arcade stick layout with the buttons, but it's still a controller.
Anything you hold in your hand is a pad.
It's a gamepad, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
You guys can't see that.
I always wanted one of those, but they're so expensive.
But I mean, here's my thing. We'll let Mash start. Like, what's your conception as someone who's casual? Like, or what's your view in from the outside as looking at that subject?
I mean, I still have sticks. I think I like stick I think I like stick because it gives me better input, like better control over my input, because I have one hand for the left side, and then I have my entire hand for all 6 to 8 buttons on the side, depending on, you know, which game I'm playing. So I like it a lot better. I with 2D fighters, I'm a little bit more interchangeable. I could do stick, I could play pad, I'm fine with that. With 3D fighters specifically, I don't like playing pad. I feel like stick gives me way more control. You get this nice, like, I remember when my early experience at the fighting game club, I was taught that the way you hold your stick, you have to do it like a champagne glass. You put it through one of the fingers, and kind of like, yeah, you really get like a feel for it, and it just becomes kind of natural. It becomes so much more precise even than doing it with the thumb on a D-pad. And I like that way better.
No, okay. So, and then of you, of course, Harps. What's your
I was a pad. I love pad for years, and I got into competing with Street Fighter, and I couldn't. This was the first game I couldn't do all the combos correctly on my pad, so I switched to something like you got, but it was the Hori, like fighting pad or something, or Fight Commander, right? Awesome controller, felt great in your hand, but the problem is the buttons would break on it. So after about like 3 to 6 months of continuous play, the button like bounce up would just tear, because dust and dirt and just natural like skin oils would get inside the controller and grind down on it and make it tear. Because I've taken them apart and cleaned them and try to repair them. I would clean them regularly so it'll last longer. I got one to last me about 8 months, but it just wasn't good. I'm like, I don't want to keep. And then then they stopped. They discontinued making it. They also didn't make parts for it. So I went, you know what? I'm going to just buy a stick. So I went and bought a stick. It took me about 2 months of solid just practicing what I used to know. And now I can play stick better than pad, because I haven't touched pad for a fighting game. What I would prefer depends on the fighting game. I like pad for 3D fighting games, which is weird, but it just, I don't know, it's much more relaxed. And plus, I'm not serious about 3D fighting games. But 2D, I'll stick with pad because I feel like I have a lot more control, and I have all the buttons like right at my fingertips. I don't play like everyone else, like the pro players, like, or the Japanese pro players. I mean, how they like touch each button separate. I play like a keyboard. I have my thumb on. Where's my pad? Damn it, it's over there. I have my thumb on the bottom left button, then my 4 fingers on the top buttons, and I play it like a keyboard. So I have 5 buttons at my disposal at any given moment. While on a pad, you only got your thumb and your right finger. So you only have 2 buttons at any given moment. Yeah, you can use your thumb to press 2, but what if you miss that? It's not as easy as it to like hit with your thumb to hit 2, while you can use 2 fingers to hit 2. It's sticks. You have more control, not more control, but like more options, more faster reactions. Ease. Yeah, exactly.
There's a lot of ease to input.
But it takes a long time to get used to. For the left hand, I don't even want to talk about that. Anyway.
All right, I'll give my point as the biggest pad player here. But the main thing I've noticed, I feel it's more of like a question of ergonomics, because I noticed that most people who like arcade sticks tend to be bigger people, or bigger people with bigger hands who like to move around like a lot. And I think him setting the example of that, he doesn't play like the Japanese players like to press buttons separately. If like you like using buttons and two fingers, like then arcade sticks for you, or you feel like, you know, that is the thing we notice. You guys, they say I feel. It's like a feel thing, and sometimes you don't know. Like I know a lot of people that sometimes play, you know, pad and then go to stick. They fall in love with it right away, and you know, but that's like an investment. Not everybody has that. But the main thing that it is comfort. Like for most people, because a lot of people just grew up with the arcades. They mainly play arcade stick, like, and even for pad players, you know, for me. And here's the thing too, when I even have to differentiate, like, you know, there's a D-pad, but pad, you know, I always say, oh, I'm a pad player or analog stick player, because I use the analog stick, which is an extreme rarity in fighting games. Well, not as much anymore, because a lot of people grew up like me, and that's because I'm comfortable with it. And to me, a PS3 controller is the most comfortable thing. You know, it just ergonomically fits my hand perfectly. And even like, you know, Harp said, you know, you can maybe use two, and for me it's fine. Like I have no problem pressing two, but people play with like the claw form, and that's why these exist. People put their 3 fingers at them at the same time, but I'm actually already comfortable by the default position. And that's why this controller is perfect for me, because it's closer to a PS3, and it even hands where I can rest my big old thumb hands. You know, this controller is perfect for me. So a lot of it, I think, is like hand ergonomics and just like what you're accustomed to. Mm-hmm. That's a big part. You know,
sorry to interrupt. Keep going.
No, and most importantly is, how do you like to play? Like, you know, realizing that, like, if you don't mind pressing down with two thumbs, fight stick might be you. You like pressing with, like, you know, moving your hand around a lot, like Guitar Hero. That's how I compare an arcade stick. It's like playing Guitar Hero. Like if you play it hard compared to normal, your hand stays here. But when you play hard, you go up, up, down, up, down. Mm-hmm. If you like that feeling, arcade stick might be for you.
Well, the thing is, it's not even just that. It's the fact of, what if you try stick, try pad, try different pads, and see which one works for you. If like you're serious about getting, okay, let's bring it this way. If you're serious about getting into fighting games competitively, and you can't get the things you want to do, but you see others doing through YouTube, which we discussed, go and buy a different pad. If you have the money, try that one. If that doesn't work, try a stick. All of these are investments if you're truly trying to become a competitive fighting game person. And you will find which one works best for you. It just takes time and practice.
Right. And like, even then, like how you both mentioned, you prefer pad, or you're okay with playing, you know, stick. And I'm the same. Like I can use grapplers with either pad or controller, but charge characters I can't use on a stick, but I can use, or I mean, on a fight stick, but on pad I can do it. You know, there's certain things, and there's certain characters. I rock on, you know, stick over pad.
Yes,
I love charge characters on stick.
I hate charge.
I love it so much. But see, I definitely agree with you on the accustomed debate. And I got here 2 controllers that were on my desk that I'm looking at. This is kind of a tangent, but like I equate that to, like, I remember people used to always tell me the placement of analog sticks on a controller is so important. And people always said that the PlayStation controllers always had them wrong because they're leveled. Instead of being one is down here and then the other one is up here, you know? But then anytime I pick up like an Xbox controller or even something like this, you know, this feels fine, but I don't really care much of the difference, but I've been playing PS3 for like a really long time. So I'm just used to analogs both being down at the bottom. Even if some people say that you need that left analog stick up higher, that it makes the experience better. To me, it's like, I'm just used to this, you know? So
right.
I'm accustomed to it.
Exactly. So it's honestly like, if you're trying to become like a competitive, it's just personal preference. You find the thing that works, because as you've watched these tournaments, there's people with pad, just a normal freaking PS4 controller winning Pro Tours or other like fighting game events. And then there's other people,
a free stick,
right? And then there's other ones where they're using this massive stick, and then other ones where they're using this little stick. I mean, it honestly is all preference. The one key thing about all of these controllers, though, is the way you sit in your position of sitting. Because when I play fighting games, I have to sit cross-legged and lock myself in a certain position to be accurate. If I don't do that, I'm not accurate. It's a very weird situation, and that's same with like using a keyboard and mouse for fighting or shooting games or anything. It's just you with stick, I have to put my hand in a certain spot and place it in a certain spot. I had to memorize where that was and get that feeling, so I always nail my combos. Then if I start missing combos, I know I shifted and I have to shift my controller to clock or my pad clockwise or counterclockwise because it's too much movement. Because it's not my pad's not that heavy, but that's just how it is.
Dude, you know what? You bring that up. I just add on further. Positioning matters too. Like some people really like heavy sticks because they like to be like a rock, boom. And he likes to, I can tell my positions off. Me, another reason, like I like moving wherever. Like that's why I also like pad. I like being flexible. Sometimes I just like chilling like this, whatever. And I don't use the D-pad primarily because I like being able to play for long hours without getting stressed my finger or carpal tunnel. I just like being like analog. I will say the only benefit it has for sure, a tangible one, if as a fight is
I'm gonna be right
you don't
back.
get
Continue.
tired. Yeah, no, you don't really get tired. Like on a D-pad, your thumb starts chafing from the stick, and then carpal tunnel with even a hitbox, But with an analog stick, nope, I do not have that issue, and that's another reason. Like I absolutely love using analog stick, but I don't recommend it. I feel analog stick is the hardest one to get good with because you have to be accurate like a fight stick, but you have less room. You don't get the benefit of having a D-pad, which is accuracy. But yeah, positioning, hands down, that's something I never thought of, dude. That's crazy, and you're right. Positioning is another important factor. All right, you can keep going. Like I said, I just wanted to add on what you were saying. Oh, all right. He said he all right. I'm an idiot.
No, it's so good.
I guess. Well, I'll add a bit more. Before he gets back, I don't. Hopefully, he wasn't done. But Mesh, I want to add a bit more. You added it. I think you got your opinion on it pretty good. But you do know that they've also been dumbing fighting games down, like not just with the input delay, like in Tekken and Street Fighter. Like in Tekken, you used to have to tech. Like you have your left and your right. Left, like if you see someone grab with your right, you tech right. It makes sense, right? So you just press the button that coincides with what side they're trying to grab you. In Tekken 1, no, as long as you press 1 or 2, which are the inputs for left or right, it gives it to you. And the only other input is a double grab, like two hands. And those are actually easier to see because it's two hands. And you just press 1 plus 2. So the throw game that's one example of dumbing down. Or in Noctis, great example. Just triangle, triangle, triangle. Congratulations, you just learned a Noctis combo. And in Street Fighter 5, they opened the window for input. Like now it's not as hard for a Hadouken, but I feel like me personally, Street Fighter 5, like that got me into Street Fighter because I wasn't into one frame links. But yeah, like how much have you heard about what's your thoughts too? Is like actual dumbing down of fighting games and the word accessibility. Yeah,
no, I've definitely heard a lot of it, and I think it all comes back to money and trying to expand the audience and getting more people to play fighting games that normally wouldn't play fighting games. Virtua Fighter has a similar example as well. Actually, I remember when I first picked up Tekken, I was like, shit, I don't want to have to like properly guess which grab I'm supposed to do based on left or right. That seems complicated. I'm glad it's not like that. And my first Tekken game was like 7. But in VF, there used to be a thing in 5 where it was you had to look at foot placement of the character, like specifically, and that would affect certain things. And for Final Showdown, which was the later version of Virtua Fighter 5, they took that out. Dang. So yeah, I mean I think VF kind of needed it because a lot of people in the fighting game community think that Virtua Fighter is like memorizing the encyclopedia or something like that. But there's another example of like taking stuff out to make it easier. Street Fighter Cross Tekken introduced like gems, which I thought were kind of strange, and they start to like bring all these things from other non-fighting games into fighting games. As a tangential example, Uncharted 4 for the multiplayer, they put in a bunch of these like little minions you could call in, so now you can have someone come in and snipe for you, like snipe the enemies while you're playing in the game. And I thought it was fine, but like at the same time, it's weird. It's making it less of what Uncharted 3 was like than Uncharted 4.
No, I like going back to the analog thing a little bit. No, no, you have no control over the analog. I could see doing like 360s, yeah, like for moves like that, but for normal gameplay, no. Like you don't have full control over that. Like one slip up, you mess up.
Yep. I mean, Yeah, so he's not wrong. Like I said, I'm an analog player.
Yep.
I don't recommend it. I like even people tell me like they're like, dude, how do you play an analog? Like everyone gives me the safe face. Like how in the like when they say, oh, I can Korean backdash. Oh, I can Godfist 3 times in a row. Dude, my friend was like, bull. I was like, no, I have it on YouTube, bro. Check it. And he's like, what's wrong with you? How do you do that?
Well, I disagree with FinalHarps because if you've been in the fighting game community, like you see all sorts of different setups. I've seen people that they use like a similar control.
No. I'm not like knocking the whole thing. It's just like I've tried it, and I know a lot of people who have tried analog, and you don't. The basic people cannot control analog. That's the thing. Yeah,
small of an area.
Yeah, it's and like there's like with pad. I'm not pad, but a pad actually and stick. You have like clicks that give you notification of where you exactly stopped. While on an analog, you don't. There's no clicks.
It's like just all wild card.
Yeah,
dude.
like like my stick is a square gate for my for the stick. A square gate. I could do shurikens easily. Like 1, 2, done. Or like I'm holding down or like down forward and then real quick. That's why like you'll just see me crouching, but I'm holding forward.
But again, I think people can get used to it. Like, you can hand an analog stick controller to somebody, and they don't need that because they've already played it so much. I used to when I was back in the Virtua Fighter community, we had a player there who's actually like the best player, one of the best players that like he won a lot of the tournaments. He had a stick that doesn't have a stick. So it was all just buttons, and the stick part was 4 or 5 buttons to like kind of do like all of the different.
That's a hitbox.
Yeah, he had that kind of stick. So it's like you see all sorts of different stuff, and if anybody gets used to it, like if anybody starts playing it, they will eventually get used to it. Yeah, I mean you're absolutely right. I can even see that my analog here is kind of not centered too, but like. Yeah, it is a challenge, but at some point people just get it and it becomes muscle memory.
Honestly, like in my opinion, like with the analog, if you had a way to like lock it to your thumb when you play, then you know what position you need to be in to have it like perfect, then that's fine. But like the fact that like if you're a sweaty match, your hand starts getting sweaty, your analog's gonna fall off. Like your your analog's gonna fall off. Your thumb's
He's right. I literally have a bunch of pads, things I bought them because they wear out, and guess what? When they're sweat, your thumb starts. So you're not wrong.
It's just like it's like you can do it. It's just like that's a very rare. Like that is so rare to see someone who actually uses analog. Like then like anyone, because everyone's just like, wait, analog? What are you talking about? Right. This isn't a fighting game. I mean, a first-person shooter game.
Right. And here's the thing. As far as you two know, am I the only analog player you know, let alone who plays competitively and is placed well? I'm probably the only one. Yes. And, like, I'm aware of that situation. And I like again, going back to what I brought up after, is like, I like the difficulty. Like, I don't know. So I literally have to train, like, precision. Like, I feel like when I do a Godfist, like, it's not, I don't, like, most people, like, with D-pad or fight stick, it clicks down forward here at the down forward position. But on analog, it's as soon as it registers the forward part, and that could be like anywhere. So now you have you have to be more precise than you need to actually be. It makes literally certain things like a Godfist much harder than they're actually supposed to be, but it feels more gratifying. Like when I did it on a arcade stick or a hitbox, I'm like, I felt no gratification. It's weird. It's like, wow, this is easier, but I'm like, it doesn't, like, I'm like, I got accustomed to the difficulty that comes from doing it.
Training weight.
Right. And then also why I really like it is like I'm comfortable. The biggest thing is like I'm comfortable. That's why I do it in the first place, outside of its difficulty, because I have thought about switching because trying to be more accurate. Because when you're trying to win, it doesn't matter. It's like you got to go with what's more accurate, And luckily for me, analog still work. But I I get a sense of pride. Like, dude, I'm like the only analog player. And then when someone's there, bro, we're like brothers, bro. There's like only 2 analog players. But at the same time, it's like, like a Tekken player, like Korean backdash and Godfist, taunt jet up. It's like a badge of honor you wear. It's like, damn, and then you just, it's nice. But I don't recommend it. It's a fat difficulty curve. Difficulty curve.
That's an understatement right there. That's an understatement. I tried analog before. I'm like, who the fuck even bothers with this? This is stupid. Back to D-pad.
And that's the thing about fighting games. I don't like them dumbing down. It's like you lose that gratification. Like there isn't like genuine gratification, or like when you play any other game and there's like a boss and he's so hard and then you beat it. Like, bro, you feel so good. This is why people like Dark Souls games, you know, because they missed the days when games didn't hold your hand or they dumbed down mechanics.
BioVenom, what exactly do you mean by trolling? Because there's different forms of trolling. Now, if you're using a zoning character, that's a troll in itself.
That is.
Now, if you're talking about someone who's just messing with you, that means you just suck and you need to get better. I mean, what are you like? There's so many different levels of trolling in fighting games. That's like layers right there.
Right, and
someone who taunts you after stunning you. I mean, someone who teabag you after stunning you. I mean, which one? Which one are you talking about here, man?
Yeah, I will answer in the most broadest sense. Like, especially like for stream, it's like no, taunting is one of the worst things. It's first is trying not to let it get to you, because once you let them get to you, that's when you know, like, fuck, they won. And that's what I always keep in myself. Like, don't let them get to you. You know, if it's in the middle of a fight, you try to beat them and then you end up teabagging or taunting them back. This happens a lot. You got to show them, oh, no, you can't just get away with teabagging or taunting me, you know?
Yeah.
But I think you mean like, because here's the thing that it's a huge problem in the community for trolling is people sending you messages, and sometimes you just mess with them. You know, you just rub in your face that you won, because most of the time it's because you won. Or they hate because you're using a zoning character or something. It's just like the first thing is don't let it get to you. If you want, send a message to her back or send a message. And then just don't rematch them. This is a key thing. Do not give them the chance to play the game, because they paid for it. Like, if you deny them the match, they're gonna feel salty regardless. Trust me. Even if they won the match, they're gonna sit here like, oh no, I could have, I could beat that guy again. But you're just like, nah, and don't let move past it, because once you go into their area, you let the troll win. For anything, regardless. But for fighting games, it's sometimes it can be hard, because maybe he teabags you and then he wins the match and then you feel salty. But it's like, you can't let it get to you, because when you let it get to you, they feel better about it. That would be my answer. How I answered the trolls. Like, I just banned them after I sent get that ass banned. I shit you not, a bunch of messages, because I don't do that. I just don't. I'm not gonna waste my time. Get that ass banned, and guess what? I banned them.
Like, all right, Bio. With that, that's like a combination of two things. They're like, I know you can't get me, so I'm gonna run this timeout. And also, you should know your character well enough to be able to get them. And at that kind of point, that's like, it's trolling, but the guy realized what your weakness was and exploited it. That's what fighting game is about. Like, if I walk up and throw you and it's negative, which negative means that you can press any button and get a hit off on me and then follow up with a combo, and you're letting me do that, I'm going to keep doing that. I've thrown someone 6 times in a row, and that is negative. It is at least -5. Which means someone could press majority of a medium hard or medium attack button, and I go by light, medium, hard. So a medium attack button and follow up with a combo easily. And with the people who run away, I've dealt with people like that, and it's really hard. Like, if you don't know your character and know how to get in, you got to learn how to do that. It's infuriating, but it's a great learning lesson from it, because now you learn, oh, now I know how to get in on this guy. Like, that's one of those where you start getting in close. Like, this is how I approach situations. Someone's running away from me. I start getting in close. I see, oh, okay, I did this. He jumped over me the other way at this point. Okay, let's do the same thing on the other side. But I know he's going to jump over me this time. It's learning the opponent and not cracking under pressure when the time is running out and everything that is going on.
Yeah. So yeah, that's definitely, like, I agree. Like, you look at it as an opportunity to learn, like, when they're chasing you down. Because, again, going back to what I said, they're going to feel salty if they let you, do that. Like, oh, I should have just finished them off. But another thing, like, say if you can't, you're not there yet. Just, like I said, remember, don't get to them. Like, just start teabagging, like, oh, I don't care, or, start taunting, and it gets them. It really will. Then guess what? They start coming back to you because now they're salty. Or, you could do the true ace, like, do what you feel gives you control and makes you comfy. Me, like, sometimes, like, if I see they're being annoying or doing something, I just rage quit. Like, say, I just deny them the match, like, once that happens, you just, teabag, do a taunt, and then, like you start going, like, oh, I don't care, and then don't rematch them, So that, like, like when you see the trolling you, troll them back. You know, or if can use the opportunity to like, oh, you know, I'm gonna use this opportunity to figure out how you work. I'll chase you down, and then you figure it out. And then when someone else tries to do it, then they get salty. They should have finished you off.
Yeah,
you know, you gotta finish your opponent in fighting games. That don't, you know,
waste that bar. Just waste that bar.
And we gotta wrap things up, right, Harps?
Yeah. Unless you guys want to keep going a little bit, it doesn't bother me. It's still early as fuck. I'm gonna be streaming until like tonight-ish.
What about you, Mesh? How much you got?
I got a rap.
You got a rap? What you rapping?
Actually, I'm gonna make a nice rap after this. I gotta.
I like how great is like what with the gutter. What I honestly wasn't thinking at that time. He's like, damn it. All right, so what's the topic for next week then? So people will know if they watch this one.
Good question.
I brought it up actually. I don't know if you guys seen it. I was talking about like, is the golden age of the internet over? Or like the golden age of the internet is over. You know, and then what was the golden age in your opinion?
Yeah, what the fuck are you talking about?
Yeah, like you don't get it. Like,
not really, because like the internet's still here. Are you talking about dial-up?
No. Like, because I seen a video and it's talking about how the golden age of the internet was like around like early like pre-2 2014 and 12. Like, because look at it now, like Netflix was better.
Before we go into detail, this is a pretty good topic because I have no clue what the fuck it is, and it'll be like a learning experience.
Right.
So we'll go into there. All right, so next week we're going to be talking about the golden age of the internet, and I have no clue what this is about. This is all greatest topic, so if you show up, ask this mofo some questions. I do have 2 more podcasts coming before the next week's podcast, and their interviews. One's with Hostile Bond, a TikToker, and then one's with the Address Keto / Honorable Hunter, and that'll be on Saturday. So Friday and Saturday will be my next podcast if you guys want to show up. Well, without further ado, I'm FinalHarps. We got Greatest Gamer 00, Mash the Stampede. I don't know what they're doing later today. I know one's going to go rap and another one's thinking about rapping something. And we're going to sign off. I'm going to take a short break, but I will be back shortly playing some game, probably Apex. I don't know. But I'll see you all later. Thank you for the questions, Bio and Kugla. They were great questions. And hopefully I'll see you all next week or sooner. Maybe in an hour or 10 minutes. I have no clue. Peace.
Thanks for coming back.